From the subreddit TwoXChromosomes. Single woman living alone in the rural countryside. So I own an acreage in rural Alberta in Canada. I live just outside of a small hamlet that is your typical oil and gas town. I recently moved here and bought 3 acres of land and a home that requires some physical labor such as hauling water and emptying the septic hold tank. I discovered early on how rare it is for a single woman like myself to not only buy a home on their own but to purchase an acreage with maintenance that is often viewed as man's work and to have no husband. Wild. I find it entertaining now when I tell people, yes, I own this property, no, I don't have a husband, yes, I haul my own water, and no, I don't need a man to shack up with. This post was inspired by the guy I hired to look at my septic tank, and after finding out all of the above still texted me telling me I'm a very pretty and brave lady. I get this all the time. I rent a house that sits on 280 acres. I don't get why I should be scared. Plus the view off the back porch is amazing in the morning. My grandma did this in Ontario. My grandpa died in the 70s and she never remarried and ran the dairy farm on her own. Had to threaten to shoot a few people, though. First, I am slightly envious as I grew up rural and currently live in a city and want to get rural again. Second, regarding the security questions people are asking. She already said she has dogs and guns. In a rural area, that is about all you need. Dogs obviously alert you to anyone who shouldn't be there. Guns because law enforcement can take like 20+ minutes to show up. We have always joked we lock our doors for your protection. Also, it is a lot easier to know if someone is around who don't belong. If you are being followed by a car, it is obvious. My family knows who drives damn near every car that drives by. When there is a car that don't belong, it ends up on the street's Facebook group. Yes, the road they live on has a Facebook page. It cracks me up. The point of my post is I would be more worried about a damn Sasquatch than a stranger showing up causing trouble. You are living the dream, party face. My sis did this. She had a very big dog. If anyone came on her property she didn't know it would pin them to the ground until my sister cleared them. Women giving birth, may women doing guy stuff, OMG, she defies the laws of physics. He probably needed a woman to shack up with. You are living my dream. Keep going. With a lot of these situations, it isn't that the work is hard, there can just be a lot of it. It really can take 2 people to get everything done. There's a movie called Land directed/starring Robin Wright on HBO right now about a woman who does just that. Great show. You should check it out. I can think of one woman I know who owns and lives on an acreage alone. She's cool as hell. Edit, also Alberta. There is a great documentary on Netflix about women farmers, not farmers' wives, but women farmers. There's a whole new movement happening here. Perfect opportunity to become the town witch. Yep, I do van life solo with my dogs and get people telling me how brave I am all the time. I personally think it's brave for anyone to try fucking with me, but, woman shrugging. I do think this is pretty brave. Not necessarily because you're a woman doing it alone, but it is hard to do this by yourself regardless. Then there is the added pressure about all the assumptions of what women can and can't do and men being weird about it. I'd be curious about the steps it took for you to get to this point. Is there things in your life that allowed you to feel confident in pursuing this? I'm almost 30 and wanting to homestead someday, but I definitely feel like it's hard enough just imagining doing that with my partner only, never mind by myself. I'm sure you get compliments for stepping out on your own, but I hope you have security systems and friends/family you can rely on nearby. I work around rural areas and the attitude towards women is not pleasant. I often think what happens when the protection of work environment is not around to dissuade them from behaving differently. All the best to you though, but get a dog and a gun. What do you do for a living that allows you to afford land and be so rural? Just highly curious, I love it. I'm sorry to say this, but stop telling everyone about your arrangements as you are putting your personal safety at risk. It's fine to be pleasant and a good neighbor, but be careful. I'd be making a complaint to that septic guy's boss. Gross. You sound like my great-grandmother after my great-grandfather died. I'm interested in doing this. Wondering how to go about it. Men think that women can't live without them because men can't love without women. I'm single and live in the middle of a 300k city. It's not a great neighborhood and I've had other women ask me if I'm afraid because I live alone. Me, no? Why should I be? Been here years, nothing's else happened. At least, nothing has ever happened to me. My ex was buying a house in a kind of remote mountain area and there was a single 20-something woman who wanted the house too. The misogynistic real estate agent, he did other things too, this title is well deserved, told my ex that he was going to do his best to convince the young woman to not buy the house because he didn't think a single woman could handle it. This was with a new septic system, a well, and central heat. The hardest part would have been digging out from snowstorms. She totally could have done it. The house was a piece of shit anyway, so the woman was lucky to not put in an offer. Edit, the same ex lived off the grid for 3 months, cried regularly about how hard it was, and agreed with the real estate agent. He couldn't handle it. Some dudes ain't got no game. Seriously though, good for you. Man or woman, few if any of us are self-sufficient, myself included, but really, what narrative/make-believe reality are they a part of when they think it's not only appropriate but also not shooting themselves straight in the dick to send that message to you? Hey lil lady, I know I have gout and ed, but I noticed you're fitting my archetypal image of free-range vagina in need of defending out here in no man's land. Ma.22 and crumpled natties will create an impenetrable barrier to alleviate the stress your feeble female mind cannot endure/s. Eli 5 Why you'd buy a property where you have to haul your own water in 2021. And if you don't mind, how much did you pay, approx? Not to be a murder mystery buff, but do you realize how this sounds like the start of a horror movie? The tank guy coming back around now that he knows you're alone. Any number of people you're bragging to in town know there's an unaccompanied woman miles from civilization. You got some kind of plan for unwelcome guests out there? Locks on your doors and windows? You need floodlights to catch anyone near your car. Please just consider yourself lucky nothing's happened, but don't give anyone a chance to take advantage of the situation. First, welcome to Alberta. Assuming you were from elsewhere originally, there definitely needs to be more people like you to challenge the mindsets of our rural folks. I kinda did that a couple of decades ago. I acquired a man a few months after buying a house, and years later also acquired a very large dog. The man was a happy accident and the dog was a deliberate choice. Man is still here, dog crossed the Rainbow Bridge a few years ago. Any sort of working partnership can be great. Don't be afraid to try. I know this isn't the point, but it sounds like you're living the start of some Stardew Valley-esque game and I can't get enough of that. I think it's easier to take care of acreage than a yard in the city. What are you supposed to be afraid of? For me, I'd be afraid of any man that knows I live out there alone. That's it. I can send you a cardboard cutout of Shrek. You can put it behind a curtain in a window to scare off any weirdos that might want to give you trouble. Lol. Wait, why are you misgendering the septic repair lady?